Hi, welcome. This is Chantal, and this is the first of a series of 3 videos that you're going to be watching. And this one is not meant to be a downer, but something that actually hopefully will help you come home and feel whole inside yourself. So it's entitled Making Peace with the Past. And what I mean by this is either your past, as in your childhood, or your past, as in maybe more recently, something you did that you feel like you are still carrying on. So why would we want to make peace with the past is really, I'm reminded of a time when I was younger. I went hiking in the Adirondacks in New York State, upper New York State. And we had to carry on our backpack, including food, dishes, tent, sleeping bag, all of it for 3 days. So now you would imagine that as we got going, we had to carry 3 days worth of food, and the more we ate, the less weight we had to carry. So your past is like this backpack that you have and you carry on your shoulders as you walk through your life. Now, if you have moments in your childhood and or in your life later on, maybe adult life, that you carry on, and you feel like you keep adding these rocks, and the more weight there is on your shoulders, the less you can take the next step. You don't feel free. You feel burdened. You feel like you're not yourself. You feel like there's some steps in life that you're not able to take and you don't know why. Often it is because we have these strings attached to events and or people in our past that makes it very hard to take a step forward. So my invitation to you today, by watching this video and doing this little exercise that I'm going to invite you to do, which is a guided visualization, is to begin the journey. And maybe you have begun that journey already by yourself, or maybe you have been in a process already in your life where you have either had a coach or you had therapy, and you just want to take the next step. So this is the invitation for you. I'm inviting you to use your heart as a guide, as a wise guide in this process. So the name of the website is called Yes to My Heart, and that is really what I'm inviting you to do today. Say yes to your heart as the healing place for you to go into and get guidance from. So we're going to begin now, and I am going to give you a moment to go get something to write with, because there will be some questions that I'm going to ask you. And I'm also going to have you do this little visualization where you're going to go inside your own heart and you're going to literally ask your wise guide for answers. So I'm going to take a moment here. I'm going to ask you to pause this recording, go get something to write with. It could be a journal if you have one, it could be a pad, and or just a plain piece of paper. And we'll start. Welcome back. Okay, so imagine that you are seated in a place where you feel comfortable. And I am going to ask you a few questions before we begin. So first question is, why would you want to do this? Most often when we have memories of, and I say memories in here, but it's also in your body, mind, and in your nervous system, literally, of trauma and or traumatic events. And when I mean this, I don't mean like huge trauma. It could be a small trauma. They basically have left a trail in your body, mind, nervous system, body, mind, memory, that's what it's called. So some of us imagine that if we go there and we start digging, we're going to go deeper and we're going to drown and not be able to come back up, which is not the truth. So maybe as a child you had a traumatic event. I know I had more than one. And this is why I'm talking to you about this today. If you have listened to my first video, you know where I came from and why I'm doing this. So I've had many, as a child, I lived in multiple foster homes. So I'm just repeating this in case you haven't heard it. And so what got ingrained into my mind, body, memory is that I'm not worthy of love and belonging. It's that simple. So over my lifetime, I've had to work and do a lot of inner processing to be able to heal that body, mind, memory, and just know that I deserve to have the love and the life I want. So that's what I want for you, and this is why we do this. But you are the one who can tell yourself why you would want to do this. Why would you want to heal? Why would you want to bring yourself back into yourself? Meaning reclaiming the person or the part of you that you left behind or that was left behind. Now, one of the things that I want to say to you is that you are never responsible for what has happened to you as a child. And or if anyone did anything to you, it was never because of who you are. And I want to pause here, take a deep breath. And I want you to hear me when I say this very loud and clear, especially if something happened to you as a child. You were never responsible for what has happened to you. The people around you, whoever did that to you, were acting out their pain onto you. And I mean this not to excuse their behaviors and not to excuse whatever happened, but just to say that when they were looking at you, they were not truly looking at you. They were looking at you through their own glasses. Now imagine glasses in a night all fogged up where you can't see where you're going and you keep hitting things on the road. That's what these people were doing. They were hitting bumps on their own road and basically acting out their pain onto you. So you're never responsible for what has happened to you. Later in life, if you feel like you have to forgive yourself for something that you did, you're hooked up to something maybe you're not so proud of, then you want to bring that same kind of understanding and compassion to yourself, which is that you did the best you could with what you had and probably acting out your own pain. So some of the reasons why we want to reclaim our past is to stop doing this, to be able to have yourself in this moment in your life fully in who you are, in your heart, in your mind, in your body, and have the life you want. So now I'm going to ask you to take your pen and paper, and I'm going to ask you to answer some questions, and feel free to pause the video again as you are answering the questions. Number one is why. Why would you want to do this? Why does it matter to you? And then what's in it for you? Along with the why is what do you hope to gain from doing this? Maybe have a sense of peace, maybe have more presence in your life, maybe have more passion. And when I mean passion, I just don't mean in a relationship. Maybe have a sense of empowerment, maybe connect to your purpose and be able to live it, maybe able to express yourself clearly, maybe have your higher perception, be able to see what's happening in your life, and maybe just live at peace, which is plenty. So some of the reasons that lead you to want to do this will carry you through the challenges of doing it. That's why I'm asking you to write why and what's in it. What do you hope to gain? Feel free to pause and answer those questions. And then we continue. The third question is, what are your roadblocks? What are you afraid of? Again, as I said, sometimes we go deep inside ourselves and we fear that if we go so deep, we won't be able to crawl back up. And somewhere in the world of spirituality, they say that we are never handed anything we cannot handle, even though at times it feels like too much. So you have the control on this journey. What are your fears? Write them down, because if you're able to identify them, they're not going to blindside you. And number 4 is, what kind of support do you need? So support can be people around you. It can be an environment. It can be imagining a friend. It can be feeling safe. So in your journey, as we begin this visualization, and as you continue, you want to keep asking that question. What kind of support do I need in order to be able to do this? And again, you feel free to pause this recording, answer the question, and then come back to it. And then we're going to begin. So make sure you're seated, and seated comfortably. That means you're able to lean back and relax a little bit. Take some deep breaths and relax your jaw. Relax the skin around your face and just relax the skin all around your body, and just feel your feet on the ground. Breathe deeply in your belly, deep breath. And then you can either put a hand on your heart, or you can simply feel your heart. And you can close your eyes or leave them open. either way. And by the way, I want to say that at any point in this journey, you can choose to stop. You can literally decide, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to stop and maybe come back to it later, and or maybe another time. So if you decide to continue, know that you can do it the way it works for you. So ask your heart, and on your heart, you say yes to my heart. Say this to yourself, yes to my heart. And feel your hand on your own heart. Feel the warmth of your own hand. And then ask for something to show up in your mind and or in your heart. So it could be an event. It could be something that you carry with you that feels weighted. So it could be something in your past life, meaning your childhood. It can be something in a more recent past. Don't choose something so traumatic that you can't look at it or feel it. Choose something just to practice, like you're putting your training wheels on. So for a moment, just remember, see yourself in your mind's eyes and or imagine yourself in front of yourself. So you are literally looking at yourself in that moment. Is that something that happened when you were younger? If so, how old are you? And maybe you can see yourself in what you're wearing. And maybe you can see what's around you, if there are people. And mostly, if you are holding your heart, you want to take yourself into your heart. So that means you are looking at yourself, and at the same time, you are projecting energy from your heart out to yourself. And just breathe. Let it go a little bit. There's no right way to do this, by the way. It's just a practice in reconnecting with yourself and hearing and feeling and sensing the parts of you that you may have left behind. So now ask that part of you what it needs from you. Maybe it needs to be heard. Maybe it needs to be seen. Maybe it needs to be felt. And just let yourself hear, see, or feel what needs to be remembered. Maybe there's a hurt that needs to be felt. Maybe there's a moment in your life that you have left yourself behind and you don't know what has happened and you want to know. And again, if your hand is on your heart, just keep feeling that warm hand. If you have other feelings, know that you can always come back to this moment. It's not about reliving the past, and it's not about going back and what it felt like back then, but it's about bringing who you are today to look at that. So for a moment there, if you feel like you're drowning into the experience of going back in your past and you don't remember where you are, just come back here. Open your eyes if you need to. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel your sits bones on the chair. Feel your back leaning back. Feel the crown of your head lifted up towards the ceiling. Just let your spine be tall. So you're asking this part of you what it needs to be healed. And you also are asking, how can I be there for you? And then you can release, let go. So for a moment there, just thank that part of you. Thank that part of you. Just thank it for showing up. Thank it for helping you see, feel, and hear. And know that this is not the end. We're going to come to closure with this experience, and you're going to continue this journey by yourself. Now, this is a practice. This is a practice. A practice means you may not get it right the first. It's not about getting right, by the way. It's about you may not get it at all the first time, and you may need to come back to it. Now, I'm going to ask you again to pause this recording and write something on your piece of paper in your journal about what the experience was like. Who did you see? How old were you? Where were you? And mostly the two questions. What did this part of you need from you? And what needed healing? What did you need to hear, feel, and sense? And what needed healing? So you want to go back and do this. and then come back to this recording afterwards. Welcome back. So how was this for you? How was it to go back, put a hand on your heart, remember something from the past, maybe that has left a trail in your mind, body, nervous system, your memory, some weight that you carry on and that you feel burdened by? So the whole purpose again of doing this is to do what? Is to come home and come whole inside yourself. So if you could, imagine a big circle, and that's you. And you would be literally taking a marker and scratching off all the edges around with a black marker. And these are the experiences that you have not assimilated, integrated. And then the more the black marker is marking, the smaller who you are become, to eventually be maybe so small that you feel like you barely exist. So as you start breathing and opening your heart and healing what needs to be healed, who you are starts having more expansion. And literally who you are can start happening more fully into your life at this moment. So integration, this is what this is about. A process of integration means becoming whole. So that's what you want for yourself. That's what I want for you, is to be whole. So now as you go into this journey, you can practice this every day. I'm inviting you to actually do it a little bit every day. If you have a meditation practice, if you have a journaling practice, if you have a walk in the woods or a walk somewhere in nature practice, it literally is about coming back and taking a little piece of your past and asking your heart every day what needs to be healed, what needs to be seen, and what needs to be felt and healed. And opening your heart to it, letting yourself, your beautiful heart, this is where compassion, kindness, wisdom lives. And you ask, there's no right or wrong answer. It's really you telling yourself what you need. Now I invite you to also ask for help. Other people can be around you. You can have a trusted friend, if you have a therapist, if you have a coach, or you can also email me if you need to, post something on my email address or on the website, meaning through the Facebook page. Again, these things are private, so feel free to share whatever you need to share for yourself, so that you feel supported. You're not alone. You know, we live in a world where everyone has had some traumatic event happen to them. And if you want to continue this journey with me, you will receive the next video next week, which is about how to use your past to bring your purpose in the forefront. Most often what we have lived is actually conducive to us living with purpose, having a purpose that is firing up, that makes the fire in our heart go. And we know that we are almost unstoppable if we have that connection to what is really meaningful to us. So I'm inviting you to go again this week, practice every day. Feel free to drop a line, send me an email, post something on the Facebook page, or just sign up for the next video, and we will connect again next week. So good luck in doing this, and know that I'm holding you in my heart, because I have worked with a lot of people that have gone through this process, and I know that it takes courage. The word courage literally means having passion from the heart, being brave enough to look at the places that scare you so that you're no longer scared of those places. Until I see you again next week, be well,